what is a directive? A directive is really just a class. We actually have 3 types of directives. You already know one. You use it so many times already, and that's a component. A component is a directive with a template. That's it. We also have attribute directives, which we also use too. Attribute directives are like directives that change the host component or the host element that it's on. So the style, behavior, things like that. So ng class would be one. Ng style would be an attribute directive. A structural directive actually changes the component or the host element's structure, its HTML content. So ng4, ng switch, things like that, ng if. Those are all structural directives because they change how the element is rendered in the DOM. So there are tons of built-in attribute and structural directives, but we can also, of course, make our own. And then we'll talk about how to access the DOM and do things you would normally do in jQuery. So a directive is responsible for modifying a dynamic template. A component is a specific kind of directive. We talked about this. So we're going to breeze past these right here because I think it's better if I just get into the code and show you this stuff. So don't worry about this stuff. So we're going to talk about structural and attribute directives. We're going to create a directive, and then we're going to create a structural directive. So we're just going to do that. I'd rather just do that live than like, this is what this is, because it's, yeah. So when we do create these directives, the way we access the DOM is using the element ref. The element ref is exactly what it sounds like. It's a reference to the element that the directive is hosted on. So we will use that to get access to it, and that object has a property called native element, which gives us the native element. So that's how we would do things. So that's pretty much it takes you back to what you had in Angular 1, where you had the element object that was in the link function and the compile function and whatnot, and you can do things there. That's what it's getting to. So here's an example of how you would access the DOM inside of a attribute directive here. It's a blink tag.
Bring it back.
So we're going to get into this a little more. Okay, any questions? I just want to get right into it. So if you have any questions so far, everybody just want to get into it. Want to see me mess up. All right, so let's do it. So first, what we're going to do is we'll make some basic attribute directives. Then I'll show you some of the built-in ones, and then we'll talk about some structural directives. And then I'll set you guys off on some exercises. Cool? All right. So let's just make a basic attribute directive. Let's just make one. I'm just going to call it, what's a cool one? Color. What'd you call it?
Marquee.
Marquee? All right. We'll call it Marquee.
Marquee.
He's got a K.
Oh, sorry.
Marquee, dude.
There we go.
There you go.
Marquee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Did you mean like M-A-R-Q?
Yeah.
No,
Like
you
a
got
marquee.
it.
Oh, like a marquee.
Oh, know what you gotta do?
Perfect.
You
No,
gotta
no.
You gotta grab all of the DOM elements in the
no.
component and
Yeah.
bunch them together. So it's Marquee and the Funky Bunch.
Oh, you nailed it.
Boom!
Let's just do a,
Boom! That's,
we'll just
Scott, I'll
make
give you $5 if you can do that.
next time. We'll just make a color one that just changes the color of text when you hover over it initially. So the first thing we need to do is import our dependencies, our modules here. So that's going to include stuff from Angular 2, of course. So we have the directive that we haven't used before. And that's all we need for now. So then now all we have to say is use the directive. Why am I not getting the fancy? Oh, I got to save it first. There we go. I'll say it's not highlighting. So we use the directive decorator here instead of component. And again, component is just a type of directive. So, but this is like the foundation of it. So like a component, we can give it a selector. In this case, the selector is an attribute, so I'm going to use the CSS attribute selector symbol, which is the square brackets, and I'm going to say its attribute is going to be color or what's a better name?
That's perfect. Just go with it.
Let's do it. Color.
It sounds like something somebody would release.
Yeah. Color or more. All right, so we got color. And then that's pretty much all we're going to need now for that directive. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just export this color. Cool. So we'll have that. And then we need to access the DOM. So what we'll do is we need to import the element ref. We'll come down here in our constructor. And I'll just call this L. That's going to be our element ref. So now we have that. And then just right off the bat, I'll just go ahead and say .lref.native element. So now we have the native DOM element here, which means I can access the style property and get the color property on that. And I'll just say red. All right, so I'm just going to change the color to red of whatever this thing is hosted on. So now let's use this thing. So let's just inject it into the app. So now we go into app, and we just need to add it to the directives. So we'll say color, which also means we need to import it. No, is that not right? Oh, I called it color. Okay. So now we imported it, so now we can actually use it. So what we need to do is just go, now because it's at the app level component, that means every child component, and including app, now has access to our directive that we just made, because it's at the top of the tree. So we'll just go ahead and go into app.html, we'll use it here. Let's find a piece of text. Let's add it here to the span. So now we can say color, like that, just like you would any attribute. So let's check it out. There it is, so it's red. Right? Any questions on that? So that's a basic attribute directive. Let's just review that for 1 second. Pretty simple here. Directive annotation, a selector, access to the native element, and then just style it.